So I wanted to sit down and tell you about my birth story because I was induced, and when I got told that I was going to be induced, I did a lot of research and I couldn't find any many personal stories to do with being induced. So I thought I'd just come and tell you. I was induced at 41 weeks and 5 days, I think. I tried to have the membrane sweep 3 times. I think it was 37 weeks, secondly at 39, and then the last one was at 40 weeks. I thought I'd go into labour before that, but I didn't. So, so the morning of the induction, we got told to ring the hospital around 8 o'clock to find out when we should go in. I woke up at 6:30, you know, to be prepared, and got told that we need to be in for 10 o'clock. So I was like, sweet, cool. Like, my bag's been packed since 36 weeks. Like, I didn't even second guess it. I was like, right, okay, let's go. Let's have something to eat. We'll go. So we got a taxi there. There was me and Kevin. We were just chilling. I didn't tell anyone that I was being induced on that day because I didn't want people going, have you had the baby yet? When's the baby coming out? When is this baby coming? I just didn't want that. So we didn't tell anyone apart from like my mum and his mum and like the normal people, you tell. My expectation of the morning was that I was going to go into labour that night and that I was going to have the baby by the latest that night or the next morning, which was not the case whatsoever. That's even with doing research on being induced as well. Sorry, Kobe's with Kobe, he's getting ready for bed. So we get to the hospital and we get showed the room and the ward that we'll be staying. We'll be like, oh, that's the kitchen, the nurse's station's right there. This is where you'll be staying. So we're in a room, it's quite a big room, and there's like 6 beds, so 3 on each side. We're on, I think this side? So we're on this side and we're the second bed in. And it's quite spacey, we've got enough space for the 2 of us anyway. There's a chair and then there's like a TV that you can pull down and everything. We get told like to get comfortable and stuff, and then the midwife will be with us. And so the midwife came and she checked my blood pressure, my temperature, and the baby's heartbeat. And then the nurse, the main midwife, came and she was telling me about what to expect from this induction. From this induction, you would have 2 24-hour pessary hormones put in, inserted in your nunny. And if that didn't work, then you'd have 2 6-hour hormones, which is, I can't remember that one. I think it's more like a tablet or a gel. I can't remember that part. That it's all a bit fuzzy. And then if that didn't work, then you talk about what happens after, which is normally a C-section. So they leave us for a little bit to get comfortable, and the next doctor comes with the nurses to put the pessary hormone into me. So the pessary hormone is to ripen your cervix basically, and to open it up just a little. So basically it looks like, if you worn tampons before, it looks like a tampon string with a little bit of card on the end. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. It's not the most comfortable, and you can kind of feel it. It's basically like wearing a tampon but less cotton. But you have to be really careful when you've got it in so it doesn't pull out the hormone, otherwise you're going to have to have it reinserted and have to wait for 24 hours. So during that 24 hours we had routine checks of like blood pressure, baby's heartbeat, your temperature and all that. So Keba had to go home the night because males can't stay in the evenings, so the dads can't stay in the evenings. So he went home about 9 or 10 and then came back 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they checked me again at around 2, so they checked my cervix and it was, I think, 1 centimetre dilated, which was, you know, a bit gutting because I had to have another 24-hour hormone put into my lady parts. Then I had to wait another 24 hours. In this time I had mild contractions, nothing which takes your breath away, nothing, you'd be like, oh, okay, so that's what a mild one feels like, that's fine. So after that other 24-hour one was up, I was still 1 centimetre dilated and I don't think my cervix was open. I can't remember my cervix being open at that point. So then I had to have the 6-hour hormone put into me. Now I don't remember whether I don't think it was a gel, I think it was a tablet. Actually, I don't remember this part at all. I just remember being really annoyed and really upset because I wanted my baby so bad. Like, I was just like, I just want to have this baby and I want to go home. Obviously you can't rush these things because you're trying to induce yourself to have a baby. But after the first 6 hours, I think my mum came. I started having I was still having contractions, but it wasn't anything major. I'd say this anything major, but at that time I was literally like, oh my golly, it hurts, feel sorry for me. And 6 hours was up, and nothing really happened. I had to have it again, and then the contractions were getting stronger. I mean, I remember Kevin's mum and her husband coming to visit, and we were sat outside just on tables, and I was literally like, ooh, okay, that's uncomfortable. But, and again, nothing major. Kevin got a lift home. I went back up to the room. The contractions were a little bit stronger by then, but nothing major. Something I can just carry on with, walk through. I got back to my room, I fell asleep and watched some like YouTube videos or something. After that 6 hours, I was 3 centimetres, which, you know, happy days, 3 centimetres, love that. But I couldn't go to the delivery suite yet, because obviously, like, to go to a delivery suite you have to be like about 4 centimetres, and I think they were saving places for people who were further along than I was, which honestly, at that point I was like, why? And I was like, I should be down there. Obviously, other people needed the rooms more than I did. And looking back at that now, I was like, if I was down there, I'd definitely be wasting their time. They told me to walk around a lot, just so it gets his head to be like lower down and, you know, push everything and make everything happen. So Kevin was about to leave, so this is further on in the day. Kevin was about to leave, so I walked him down. I was already having strong contractions. Kevin would make me laugh, and I'd be like, whoo, whoo. I'd be like, whoo, whoo, okay, don't make me laugh at all. And Kevin would be like, sorry. I was having stronger contractions, like kind of where I'd have to stop what I was doing. This was about 8:30, 9ish. I came down to the main doors of the hospital, because obviously they told us to walk around. I'd get to the elevator, I'd have a contraction, so I'd have to stop. I'd be in an elevator. I remember being in the elevator to go down to the lower floor with Keba, and there was this little girl next to us with like a carer or a parent or something, and I was having a contraction, and it was strong, and I was trying not to show it because I didn't want a little girl to see me go through that. Like, it's not fair on the little girl to see me through that. And I'd come out of the elevator, and then I'd walk a little bit, have a contraction, say goodbye to Keba, and walk back to the elevator. I stood at the elevator. I remember standing there with like my hand on the wall, like someone came past going, oh bless her, and I was like, and so I got back to my room. It took me a while to get to my room. On that ward they can only give you paracetamol or stronger paracetamol. So I got back and I was like, can I have some paracetamol please? I've already had some normal ones, can I have some stronger ones please? And they were like, yeah, that's fine, we'll bring it to you and we'll do a check on you. So they do a check on me, just like the routine, body temperature and blood pressure, so they checked that. But didn't check if I was any more dilated. But I was having really strong contractions, and by this point they got so strong, like I was literally, like I was timing them because they hurt. This was about 11:21, so obviously it progressed from then. My phone's yellow because I can't read black and white, so I don't know whether you can see that or not, but these are all like the timestamps of when I had my contractions and how long they were. It was a lot. I rang my mum. I didn't want Keba to hear me in pain, because he already felt really sad about leaving. He didn't want to leave. I didn't want him to leave. Like, I feel like he should have stayed and the nurses should have let him stay. But they were going by what they have to do. They can't have a male person on the ward. They said that he can wait in the hospital, but it'd be in the waiting rooms and they're not that comfortable. And I wanted Keba to be comfortable. I wanted him to get some sleep, so he'd be like fully functioning and stuff and supportive when he comes back. So I rang my mum when I was having the contractions, because I was like, I need someone to talk me through this. I need someone to like just keep me calm. Like, my mum's been through labour 5 times. Like, she's got 5 kids. But at this point she was tracking my contractions, and she was telling me to breathe and to stop panicking, because I'd literally be like, I'd feel one coming on, I'd be like, mum, it's coming, mum, it's coming. And she'd be like, you need to slow down your breathing, and I couldn't. I practiced my breathing throughout my pregnancy, and I could not, for the life of me, get a handle. Like, I couldn't control my breathing at all. It was stressing me out because I knew that I could, but I couldn't do it in the moment where a contraction was, because I was in pain. No matter what position it was, I was literally like, I was just panicking. So I'd be crying as I'm having the contractions, the other ladies who were pregnant and also going more or less through the same thing were like, oh my god, it's okay. They gave, like, there was like one lady, and she was like, she come and gave me a hug, and she was so sweet. Like after like 45 minutes, I think, my mum was like, you tell them that you need gas and air, tell them you need more paracetamol, you need more painkillers, you need to go down to the delivery ward, tell them that you need Keba, like you need Keba at this moment, you need to get him right now. And I was like, okay. So I rang him, like he'd literally got home, he got himself something to eat, and he was like, Shannon, I can't come back, they won't let me, I will have to stay on the corridor. And I was like, I will sit in the corridor with you, I don't care. I was upset, Keba was upset. Eventually, like, the midwife came to see me, and she saw, like, I was panicking. I was in a state, like, I've never experienced pain like this before. It was rough, guys, honestly. I was on the phone to Keba, she was like, tell him to come back, we'll let him on the ward. By the time Keba got back, like, the nurse had checked my notes and didn't realise that I was already 3 centimetres dilated before she came on her shift, and nobody checked me since. So when Keba got in, she was checking my cervix, and I was 6 centimetres dilated. Literally the only pain relief I had was paracetamol. And so she was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. She told us to pack up all of our stuff that was in the in our little bit, and we were moved to the delivery suite. Now the delivery suite, it was a lot nicer place to be in. It was pretty much like a blur after this. So my contractions slowed down because I wasn't panicking as much. So they needed to make my contractions come back again. So they observed it for a little bit, giving me gas and air, which, by the way, did not work on me whatsoever, because if you cannot get a hold of your breathing, the gas and air is no good. The gas and air felt nice after the contraction, like when the effects kicked in after the contraction, but during it, like I couldn't get my head around the breathing, so I just sucked it off. I was literally like, no. After a while of like contractions and stuff, they were like, we're gonna pop your waters, and I was like, oh my god, okay. And obviously then she'd go up, and I think she had like this little hook thing, and she'd like, and I swear down, I heard the pop. It's such a weird experience, like you can't control it. It's just like, how you would expect it really. But like being like, oh, my socks got wet. After my waters broke, the contractions got incredibly worse. They gave me some diamorphine, which was, I don't know how it was explained to me because I don't remember, but they said it'll make you sleepy, but it won't help the pain of the contraction, but it'll help in between for you to rest in between. After I had it, I remember going to the toilet, coming back, and then falling to sleep. And then apparently, according to Keba, because I don't remember any of this, I'd wake up screaming in pain, then go back to sleep again, wake up screaming in pain, go back to sleep again. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, guys. Labour hurts. Do you remember waking up every now and again and like literally screaming out in pain, and then just be like, ugh. And Keba was literally so worried, like he didn't sleep. He was like, she needs an epidural, but the nurses are like, she can't have an epidural unless she wants one, unless she asks for it. So me being me, and I'm being like, if an epidural is what's going to help me, that's fine. I had no birth plan. I was like, I will take anything that comes. I just want the baby out as safely, and that I'm safe and he's safe. So I was like, I need an epidural. And then she was like, okay, fine. I don't remember the epidural doctors coming in. I don't remember them sticking everything onto my back. I remember them saying that I have to keep still and that I'm not allowed to move. I think someone had to hold me up because I couldn't because of the morphine. So I remember at this point as well, I remember having a contraction because they were like, we're not going to do it while you have a contraction. Just wait and tell us when your contraction's over. So I did. And after that, after they gave me the epidural, I don't remember anything apart from waking up when the midwife told me to. Apparently I was asleep for a good couple of hours. Keba didn't really sleep at all because he wanted to make sure that he was there for me. I slept for like 2-3 hours. It's nearly bedtime and he's being fussy. But after my epidural, I was out of it. I just remember falling to sleep and being really content and not in pain, and it was really, really nice. And I was literally just like, it was nice just to have that break from hours of pain. Next thing I remember is waking up with the midwife. It was a completely different nurse. So I was like, hi. She was like, I'm really sorry to wake you up, but I'm going to have to check your cervix to see how far dilated you were, and you need to be awake for this. And I was like, okay, cool, just do what you need to do. I said hello to Keba, and I was checking if he was okay and everything. That part was a bit of a blur. I think I was still trying to wake up. And she was like, oh, I can see his head. He's crowning. And I was like, Kev was like, I want to see. And I was like, does he have hair? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, in the moment, I was like, take a picture. I want to see what it looks like. He took a picture and I told him to delete it pretty quickly. I did not need to see that. I don't ever want to see that ever again. I'm not okay with that. I don't. So she was like, well, if he's crowning, then get ready for labour. Like, while she was getting like another nurse to be in with her, I was like, hang on a minute, can I ring my mum? And she was like, of course you can. So I ring my mum and I was like, hi. Now the night before I was screaming down the phone to her and I was like, hi mum. She's like, are you alright? And I'm like, yeah, I've had an epidural. Can you come to the hospital please? I'm about to start pushing. And she was like, okay, yes. And she got there so quickly. So she was like, right, let's start pushing. Like, on your next contraction, watch the monitor. You'll feel your belly tighten and you'll see things start getting a bit like faster and heavier. And I was like, cool, that's fine, it's fine, I can't. So I felt my belly tighten and she was like, push. I was like pushing and pushing. And then she was like, oh, you're doing so well. And I was like, thank you. And then we were having a laugh. It was so surreal. Like, we were actually like laughing and like giggling and stuff because I was like, we're about to have a baby. Like, our son is nearly about to be in this world. She was like, right, I need to do a big push because his head's not coming out properly. So I'm like, right, okay, I do a big push. Which honestly, during an epidural, it doesn't hurt. There's just a lot of pressure. It's so weird because I could feel his head. I could feel like how heavy his head was. I just couldn't feel the pain. But she was like, I may need to cut just to help get his head out. And I was like, no. She was like, it's a possibility that we may have to cut. So she gets some scissors and I'm like, please don't use them. She was like, okay, right, do your next push. And I'm like looking at these scissors and I was literally like, his head came out and she was like, right, his head's out, right, we just need to get his shoulders out. And then after that, on the next contraction, you push and he'll be here. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay. This is your next contraction, now push. It's just like, it's not even a big push, not as big as your last one, just push. So I was like, oh, okay. A nice little leisurely push. The next thing I see, like, my baby's here. Like, my baby is like literally like in front of me. And then there's me and Keba like, oh my gosh, like, he's here. And then Keba goes, Kobe, and he turns his head towards Keba. Like, it's so weird. Like, I put him like straight on my chest, like during the last contraction, like, and pushing, I was unbuttoning my top so I could do skin to skin. And so I was like, okay, come here. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, we had our moment together, like me, Keba and the baby, while the nurse did her thing. Because Keba's mum and her husband were already coming in to sit and wait, because we said that, oh, we've gone down to the delivery suite, if you want to come and wait in the hospital, that's fine. As soon as they get there, Keba went to go meet them and they came in like about 15-20 minutes after he was born. My mum was there 10 minutes after he was born. So we're all in the room like, oh my gosh, she's taking pictures together. Like, it was mental. Such an emotional roller coaster. Like, there were so many downs. We had to wait like a long time to even get somewhere, and then the pain was like so horrible, but the happiness of seeing his face, I just forgot about everything. I forgot about the pain. That pain didn't mean anything because I had him, and oh, it was like the best feeling in the world. Oh my gosh, there was so many like downs, but like seeing him for the first time, it was amazing. It was so weird. Like, this is my child. Like, we've produced this and he's come out of me. It's weird. And now here he is, 15 weeks later. So that's my labour and birth story. Keba has agreed to sit down and do a video with me on what he experienced during my birth and labour, because he was there for like the thick and thin of it. Like, I want him to explain how he was feeling during those moments. So if there's any new dads or expectant dads who have never been through this whole experience because you don't know what to expect, then they can sit down and watch it. As much as us women are in pain, the men do go through it as well, like the sleep deprivation and everything, and the worry for your partner and is your child safe and everything. Yeah, next week we're gonna have that video up if anyone would like to see that. This is the best day of my life. When he came into this world, I will never know love like it in a split second of seeing someone. And then after comes the no sleeping, the crying baby, and the anxiety of what to do on the first night. with a child who won't sleep in his mother's basket because he's just come out of your belly. So that's my labour and birth story. I really hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, any questions, just let me know. Next week's video will be the male perspective of childbirth and labour, with a few day in the lives in between as well. Hope you enjoyed. Bye!